It's a challenging picture that Sister Wendy Beckett presents to the world. She's been a nun for the last 50 years, spending much of her time alone in the grounds of a Carmelite convent. But she's emerged from that seclusion into the glare of publicity and has achieved national fame as an art critic and accomplished television performer. She's also the author of 6 books on art, the latest of which, Sister Wendy's Story of Painting, is now a BBC Two series, which begins this Sunday. In a moment, we'll be finding out what it was like for Sister Wendy to travel the globe, visiting 40 of the most important galleries in the world. But first, here's a sneak preview of the series.
The city of Florence, possibly the most important city in the story of painting, because it was the Renaissance city where Leonardo and Michelangelo and Botticelli lived and worked. Painters who were going to make visible a new sense of what it meant to be human. What are we to make of a man that sends in a job application, listing in detail all his engineering and scientific skills, and adds as a sort of postscript that he also paints a little? And this is what he paints, one of the most famous pictures of all time. Remember, Leonardo was the most beautiful man of his generation. Great singer. When he painted, he usually had musicians there. And we know for certain that he never had an emotional relationship with a woman. Boys, yes, but that was it. So here is this merchant's wife, Mona Lisa, watching with amused interest, with a little secret smile, this beautiful, aristocratic-looking, influential man painting her. She knows exactly what she thinks, and she's not going to share it. And the wonder of Leonardo is that he's caught that. This look not of sharing her personality, but of looking at him and secretly smiling and keeping herself a mystery.
Wonderful stuff, and Sister Wendy Beckett joins me now. Good morning, Sister Wendy.
Good morning,
Thank you very
Juliet.
much indeed for coming along to Breakfast News Extra. Now, just referring to that clip, quite a lot has been made of your uninhibitedness when presenting these sorts of programmes. Do you find that people have a preconceived idea of the sort of person you must be because you're a nun?
Yes. People slot people into slots.
They love slotting, don't they?
Slotting.
Yes.
And there's this weird notion that if you're a nun, you're some shy, little inhibited creature, frightened of life, escaping into the convent, whereas nuns are as different as television presenters or housewives. They're people who need this kind of life.
So how would you describe yourself then, not shy and uninhibited?
Well, I never really know what I'm like. When I was a very young nun, the novice mistress said, Sister, what is your worst failing? Because they were going to work on this. And I couldn't think of one because practically everything seemed sort of equally bad. And then she said, well, then, all right, we'll leave that. What's your best quality? And this baffled me too, because I couldn't think of anything. And I finally said, well, I think I'm truthful. And I've decided since that in actual fact I'm not truthful at all, so that one makes mistakes about oneself. I do not know what I'm like.
Well, it makes
Juliet.
it sound like you don't like yourself.
Oh, no, I do.
Oh,
I'm
good,
quite
good.
happy
Well,
to be
I'm
me.
glad. I'm glad about that. Now, were you happy to have made that series? Did you enjoy making it?
I enjoyed quite a lot of it, yes, which is the first time I've ever said that about a series.
You haven't enjoyed making it in the past?
Well, I used to say dreadful things like, you know, if you compare going to the dentist with scrubbing a floor, then scrubbing a floor is enjoyable, which was very unkind to the people who'd worked with me. I've now graduated past that. And I say, no, I think I enjoyed quite a lot of it.
Why are you so passionate about art? Why are you doing this?
Because I think this is part of being human, to love art. It's our legacy. It's in our genes. And so many people don't know this. They think that art is connected with being educated, being intelligent, having gone to the right schools. And this distresses me. There's a dimension in people's lives that's being withheld from them, or that they're withholding from themselves out of false impressions.
So what do you think we can all gain from getting interested in art? What can we all gain from appreciating art?
You can become more fully human.
Ooh.
It's frightening. I mean, art is a frightening thing. If you really look at art, it will change you, not into something that you're not, but into something that you've meant to be and never quite got to.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, we've all got capacities within us that we haven't used. And often we don't want to use them. Because the more you are, the more challenges life offers. You know, it's like having a gift. If you've got a gift, it's a responsibility. Well, this becoming human, because we're not born human, we become so through life. And art does that. It brings you closer to it. And that's both difficult and wonderful.
So who is your favourite artist, if you have one?
Well, I've been asked this before, and I run quickly through my mind the ones I love best. And I always come back to saying it's Cézanne.
Why is that?
Yes, well, this also is a difficult question. If you take what I've said before, because Cézanne makes me more fully conscious of the capacity of being human. He's so profoundly beautiful, and he's so true. There's such integrity, there's such an avoidance of cop-outs in Cézanne. And I've never looked at Cézanne without feeling I now know more what I am.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, frightening but wonderful.
Given that you've obviously got a multitude of talents, which I know you're likely to disagree with, but you obviously have, what led you to become a nun? Why did you decide on this course?
Well, I never did decide. From the time I could think, I wanted to become a nun.
Were your family religious?
Yes, in the sense that they were staunch Catholics. They would never not have gone to Mass on Sunday, but I mean, there weren't rosaries hanging all around the house. No, I think from a very early age, I wanted passionately to love God. And I think I also realized that I wasn't a very adequate person, and that for me, to love God totally would mean being a nun. And I hungered for it. I thought, here I am 16 and not a nun yet. This is dreadful.
Given the fact that you've spent so many years really spending most of that time on your own, this whole TV thing must be, I suppose, a huge culture shock, isn't it? I mean, how does it sit beside your life as a nun?
Well, it's still me doing it. You carry your life of prayer within you. And as for the rest, don't take this amiss, dear Juliet, but none of this seems very real to me. The real thing is God and being in touch with him. I mean, this is all very charming, but it's ephemeral.
You've done this series, and this concentrates just on painting. I know you love sculpture and all of that sort of thing as well. Would you do another series? How do you feel about this?
Well, spending a year and a half doing painting, I found my mind more and more turning to sculpture and the wonder of it, how sculpture challenges us in the way painting can't, because painting's on a wall. You can pass by, but sculpture's in your space. And yet now we've come to this stage, and there's the television interviews,
all of the public attention.
I feel, you know, is it worth the hassle?
Do you really not like this sort of thing?
Well, dear girl, would anyone like it?
No, I must admit, I hate being interviewed.
You see?
Well, Sister Wendy, you've certainly enthused me and charmed me, and I'm sure you'll do exactly the same to everybody else watching. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.